think, oh my God, we're being recorded. Is Big Brother watching?
"1984" by George Orwell is set in a society with no privacy. The party, the controlling figure in the novel, has complete surveillance over all of Oceania. They use a device called a telescreen, in which every movement and sound is captured, sending back information to the party, telling them whether or not people are leading their lives in accordance with what they want. There was of course no way of knowing whether you were being watched at any given moment. How often or on what system the thought police plugged in on any individual wire was guesswork. It was even conceivable that they watched everybody all the time, but at any rate they could plug in your wire whenever they wanted to. You had to live, did live, from the habit that became instinct, an assumption that every sound you made was overheard and, except in darkness, every movement scrutinized. Orwell 3. If someone goes against the party, whether words or actions, they will always find out, because as they continuously repeat one of their slogans, Big Brother is watching you. Orwell 2. There is no way for a telescreen to be around. There are hidden mics. "I didn't want to say anything in the lane," she went on, "in case there's a mic hidden there. I don't suppose there is, but there could be. There's always a chance of one of those swine recognizing your voice." Orwell 119. It's impossible to have complete privacy, as there is always some way of surveillance where you can be heard and scrutinized, which is actually starting to resemble life today. Throughout the past, privacy has almost always been seen as a given for every single person. People didn't have to worry so much about their private life, such as conversations, actions, and being exposed to the outside world. Now, our privacy is becoming in jeopardy more and more every day, and the reason for that is technology. Technology has become a part of modern-day life, and the risk of an invasion of privacy is inevitable. A piece of technology that has become a recent security threat are voice-controlled devices such as Alexa, Google Home, and Siri. These devices are primarily used to help make controls such as turning on the lights or checking the temperature easier and quicker. Voice recognition has been around since the 1960s, but didn't really flourish until the 1990s, but especially became more abundant when Apple introduced Siri in 2011. 1 in 6 Americans own some type of smart speaker, with the Amazon Alexa leading in production rates. Out of those people, 41% of the users have privacy issues relating to the device. One of the original concerns relating to these topics was that Alexa will mishear what someone is saying and consider it as her wake word. One time in 2017, a man named Martin Johansson, who happened to be a former Amazon employee, noticed that his Alexa had seemed to have gone rogue by speaking small and random commands based on what the man had previously said to the device, all without the wake word. The man said, "Having worked at Amazon and seeing how they use people's data, I knew I couldn't trust them." In a different instance, a private conversation between a woman and her husband in Portland, Oregon, was sent to one of her husband's employees, creating a large problem. And another time, an Amazon customer in Germany was sent enough audio files from someone else's Echo Dot to determine the name and location of the user and his girlfriend, all without the wake word. This also applies to Apple Siri, in which Siri is accidentally activated and picks up private conversations such as people talking to their doctor, drug deals, and sexual encounters. Apple has been heavily scrutinized on how they listen to people's conversation, in which their excuse is that it will help improve Siri. 1% of their recordings are listened to and reviewed, which out of 500 million Siri users is a lot. Google Assistant does the same thing, and even has access to your search history, meaning that if your audio files ever got loose, they might have private information related to your search history. And, according to the Alexa terms of use, the Alexa will process and retain the Alexa interactions so that it can improve and provide to their services, similar to Siri and the Google Assistant. It also says that it will store the messages in the cloud, meaning that everything that is said is stored in some type of Amazon database. And although the recordings are anonymous, they usually have enough information to identify and embarrass the user. Everything that is told to the Alexa has the possibility of being read by an Amazon employee. Some even say that Alexa is a spy hidden in a device, and that's the debate that has been going on for years. The devices are prone to error, but even without it, some companies only care about how they can exploit people for their own profit. These devices will pick up stray audio, and the Alexa will even say on the app that the audio is not intended for Alexa, even though it is still sent back to Amazon
for possible review.
Dr. Jeremy Gillella, Tech Project Director at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, said, "That's the scary thing. There's a microphone in your house, and you do not have final control over when it gets activated. From my perspective, that's problematic from a privacy point of view." Alexa also reportedly has access to the user's geographic coordinates. These devices are always listening to you, looking for the wake word. For example, there have been multiple murder cases in which electronic devices are used to convict or prove someone innocent. Previously, in Arkansas, a high-profile attorney took over as a lead for a case where a man named James Bate was accused of killing his friend, a former police officer. The prosecutor requested the private recordings from the defendant's Alexa from Amazon, which was provided to them later that day after some resistance, proving that the defendant was innocent. But throughout the case, the homeowner's lawyer said that you have the expectation of privacy in your home, and I have a big problem that law enforcement can use the technology that advances our quality of life against us. And unfortunately, according to Amazon, the digital assistants have as much of a right to the First Amendment as the user, allowing it to continue with the so-called expressive abilities. The speakers already have the ability to constantly listen and record the interactions between the users and the device, and that shows the amount of privacy that we have today. Some large companies just want even more of a profit from the device, even if it means manipulation to the user. Amazon has already made an Alexa that has a screen and a front-facing camera, exactly similar to the telescreens in 1984. Now we are starting to become part of an Orwellian society where you must be careful of every word that you speak, but it may be possible to help fix that problem in the bigger picture. Luckily, voice assistant usage is a fairly new concept, and there are still some ways that we can keep our privacy. The most simple solution is getting rid of the devices altogether. Life without them is really not that hard, and the most we may have to do is search up something online or look at the weather on your phone instead of asking the device. If you are unwilling to get rid of the voice assistant, there are some devices that actually have privacy controls that can limit your risk for privacy invasion that many people do not know about. On Apple's Siri, a way that you can prevent your Siri from randomly activating is disabling the Hey Siri feature, which prevents your device from mishearing you and recording your conversation. And although the devices have the right to the First Amendment, so do we. We can speak against the company and spread the word about this so that people know the risk of our world turning into exactly how Orwell predicts it. And if we do all or some of these steps, then we can hopefully keep our privacy for as long as possible.